This video is sponsored by Squarespace. And hello, I'm minor internet celebrity Adam Ragusia, and I've recently been accused of faking my own death. Or more specifically, faking my own retirement, or even more specifically than that, faking my own semi-retirement, which is kind of an odd thing to be accused of. I suppose accused is a strong word. People are saying it. It's a thing that people are saying. It's not necessarily an accusation. It could just be an observation or an explanation. People simply trying to understand something that they otherwise wouldn't understand.
Let's see, anybody home? No, like one bladder snail.
Anyway, the situation could be said to be legitimately confusing if you fail to take into account your own viewpoint bias. Viewpoint bias is something that we all have. It's nothing that you can purge from yourself completely. It's just something that you have to try to account for as best you can. I mean, all of us learned one way or another when we were children that we do not disappear when we cover our own eyes, right? This merely renders us invisible to ourselves, not necessarily to other people. It's a little basic viewpoint bias that we have to figure out at some point. Similarly, we may have to be reminded sometimes that something doesn't become true the moment that we become aware of it. A thing can be going on and being true for a long time, long before you ever become aware of it. And I'm pretty sure that's all that's happened here. I think I got on the internet a couple of months ago and I told people that I consider myself semi-retired. And some people, naturally, though erroneously, concluded that I meant at this point, going forward, my announcement of my semi-retirement is coterminous. Is that the right word? People presumed that the announcement and the fact of the matter, the policy that I was enacting, were coming together at the same time. Whereas, in fact, it was very different. Oh, hey, look, my garden enclosure from a few videos ago is going really well so far. So yeah, when I announced that I was semi-retiring, what I meant with that is that I already had semi-retired, right? I mean, I went from publishing 2 videos and 1 podcast per week to just doing 1 video per week. That's quite a reduction in workload, right? Output, at least. So that's why I said I'm not going semi-retired. I said I am semi-retired, or rather that I now consider myself semi-retired. I was trying to explain for you something that had already happened without announcement. Look at how pretty these herbs are growing down along the rocks now. That's what we like. So I think I even said this in my original announcement, but I'll reiterate the point once more. My current working definition of semi-retirement is that I will work for money no more than 2 days a week. It's a rough number and, could average out to something like that. So some weeks, if I have extra opportunities, I might work more. Other weeks I might work less. I don't know, but what I'm saying is that I'm trying to keep it to about 2 days of working for money. I fully intend to find other reasons to work. I mean, you gotta keep working, right? Like, I've just been researching this video on the correlation between diet and human height, and one of the things you see is that, like, everybody loses height shockingly early, starting as early as 35 in a lot of people. But you can mitigate a huge amount of bone loss, which causes the height loss, by simply doing resistance training of some kind. Like, your bones and everything have to come up against stress, resistance, in order to maintain their own strength. I did that for the camera. I can do more. Do you want to see how many I can do? Let's try it. 1,012! Yes! The point is, without work, we shrivel into some little shell of ourselves, either mentally or physically, or often both. So no, you need work, and I intend to keep working. I'm just doing it for, like, things other than money. So things that I find creatively interesting, or things that are just sort of good for the world. If I were to do them, I hope they will be good for the world. I don't know, but no more than 2 days a week am I chiefly focused on money. That's what semi-retirement means to me. And I told you about that because I felt that you had a right to know, right? Like, you watch these things, and I just wanted you to know why there were fewer of them. But I also just kind of wanted to make kind of an announcement to the world about my intentions that I think is important. People make certain assumptions about you, and that's perfectly reasonable. You can't really function and interact with all the people you need to interact with in your life unless you make some assumptions, right? You can't come to fully independent judgments about every single individual you come into contact with over the course of your day. You don't have time to research them that much. But one thing that people tend to assume about other people is a certain growth mindset, right? Or maybe, I don't know if this is particular to capitalist countries, but people generally assume, especially if you're on the younger side, that you're trying to grow. Right, like people assume that you're trying to advance in some kind of conventional way. You're trying to, climb higher on the ladder of status, whatever kind of status you want, professional status, socioeconomic status, whatever. In that case, that means that sort of people just sort of assume that I want more people watching or listening to me on the internet. I want more money, more sponsors, more whatever, and I'm just trying to communicate that I'm hitting a point where that's just not the case anymore. And it's a relevant distinction because people come to me all the time with, business proposals or all kinds of ways for me to get more audience, or maybe sometimes just viewers just comment on the video saying, hey, obviously not a lot of people are interested in this thing that you made this video about. Maybe you should make videos more about this instead that more people would be interested in. These are all perfectly fine, observations or proposals for people to make if you assume that I want to grow. I don't. I'm in a period of what you could call managed decline, which is a little bit disorienting for some people. And I think that that's because we're maybe a little bit more used to institutional media properties. That is to say, back in the days of traditional media, a show or something was made by a group of people under a corporate name, an institution, something that by definition outlives its individual members and can have a life cycle that is indeterminate, potentially indefinite. Whereas human beings have a very much determined, definite life cycle, and it's not all about growth. In fact, I think if you try to grow in every way over the course of every part of your life cycle, you're going to do a lot of really counterproductive stuff. At some point, you get to the point where you really need to be closing up shop, not opening up a new shop, But anyway, now we live in this time where a lot of media properties are actually just individual humans. Here's one, right? And therefore, a media brand is going to have a life cycle that is much more similar to a human life cycle, which is to say it's going to be shorter.
And being that I am relieved from the obligation to create perpetual growth in value for my shareholders, I have no shareholders, my brand can simply decline as my life declines. Acupuncture.
And because I'm a man of science, I probably have to say that, yes, the evidentiary basis for acupuncture and similar things is not super strong, but it's not non-existent, and it's kind of about as strong as lots of other treatments that are done all the time in Western medicine, so whatever, it makes me feel better, I think. I've entered the phase of my life where I just go to doctors a whole lot, and to a certain extent that's because I'm semi-retired and I have time to focus on my own well-being. I wish that you had just as much time as I do for that purpose. I think everything would be better. So yeah, let's review. Adam Ragusea is semi-retired in the sense that he's only working for money 2 days a week. That's probably still gonna translate to like 1 video per week about my kind of normal stuff. And perhaps more importantly, I'm no longer trying to grow. I don't need more people. I've got you. You are more than enough to carry me as far as I need to go. So that's why I'm gonna be doing videos that are about kind of stupid things that I think are neat, and I'm not totally sure if other people will think that they're neat, but if a few of you do, that's fine. That's why publication may get a little bit more sporadic, haphazard, we'll see. Just not trying to like gather more people in here. I'm in a state of managed decline. It's kind of fun, honestly. Which is good because I'm seeing all these other people kind of, food creators coming on the scene now and doing the vertical video and stuff, and man, they are just kicking my ass. They are so much better at this stuff than I am. In a number of ways. Yes, there's like certain things that I do that are kind of particular to me and that maybe I'm the best at, but they have things that are particular to them that they are the best at. And it's best to just kind of move forward and find new special things in the world and try, instead of trying to recapture things that you once had. All that said, if I'm gonna maintain any kind of public-facing presence, which obviously I am, I'm gonna need a website, new website, and I can do that with Squarespace, sponsor of this video. Hey, where are you going? This is the ad, it's the best part. You get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain with my code Ragusea. The sweet thing is now when you say you get started, you can either use one of their templates, or you can just build your own, get a little bit of AI assistance if you need it. Let's see, what am I gonna need? I guess I'm gonna need an intro section and an about, and that's kind of it, really. Choose a color scheme. Font options, I just feel increasingly sans serif as I get older, which is funny. It usually goes the other way. I know they say that if you love serifs when you're young, you have no heart, and if you hate serifs when you're old, you have no head, but I'm still straight up sans. Sans to the end. And yeah, now with Squarespace AI, you can get an automatic first draft on a lot of stuff. Go ahead and replace the stock art with an image that I admit not a lot of people probably would have chosen, but This is my website, and I get to choose how I present myself on it, which is exactly the reason why I want a website, a place where I get to talk about myself on my own terms as opposed to all the other places where other people have defined me for me. I'm not sure who I am anymore. Well, that's an honest start. If you want something as simple as that, or something as complex as like a gigantic store where you can sell physical or digital products, you can do it all with Squarespace, and you can do it for 10% off your first website or domain purchase with my code Ragusia. And there we go. Thank you, Squarespace. And thank you for watching and for listening. I appreciate it. Make it really clear, I'm not mad at anybody. I think we're all good. I just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page vis-a-vis the semi-retirement. The semi-retirement has been a gradual process that has been going on for like a year and a half, and will probably keep going and keep evolving because well, life is an iterative process. Don't you think so, Pop-Tart? Sure is.